One of the greatest realizations you'll ever have in life is that sometimes your absence says more than your presence ever could. We live in a world that constantly tells you to show up, to be everywhere, to keep giving. We're conditioned to believe that our worth is measured by how available we are to our jobs, to our friends, to our families, even to social media. But here's the truth: when you're always there, people stop noticing the power of your presence. It becomes background noise. Familiar, expected. But when you step away, when you pull your energy back, something profound happens. People start to feel the weight of your presence by the depth of your absence. They begin to realize what you were contributing all along. It's like oxygen. You don't notice it when it's there, but remove it, and suddenly its value becomes undeniable. Now, I'm not talking about disappearing or neglecting the people you love. I'm talking about intentional absence, the kind that allows space for others to grow, space for you to breathe, to reflect, to reconnect with your own center. You see, when you're constantly pouring into others without refilling your own cup, you start running on empty. And when you run on empty, you're not really giving anymore, you're depleting. Sometimes stepping away isn't selfish, it's sacred. It's a declaration that says, I matter too. It's an act of self-respect. Because when you're gone for a while, when you give people and situations a little distance, you start to see things clearly. You notice who checks in, who genuinely cares, who values your energy, and who is simply using your presence as a convenience. Let me tell you something powerful: your energy is your currency. Every time you show up somewhere, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you're making an investment. And if you don't evaluate where you're placing that energy, you'll keep investing in things that give you no return. Sometimes your absence is the audit. It reveals where your presence truly matters. Think about this. Have you ever stepped back from someone or something and suddenly realized how much lighter you felt? Clarity you experience, that peace, that's the truth revealing itself. The noise of constant connection often hides what's really happening in your life. But in absence, truth has room to echo. And what's beautiful is that your absence also gives others a chance to rise. Sometimes you've been the glue holding everything together, and as long as you're there, no one else learns how to stand on their own. But when you step away, they're challenged to grow. They learn resilience, responsibility, and appreciation. Your absence becomes a gift. You have to understand, power doesn't come from being everywhere. Power comes from being intentional about where you are. When you learn the value of your absence, you start walking differently. You don't chase validation. You don't over-explain. You don't beg to be seen. You know your worth because you've witnessed what happens when your energy is no longer available, and that changes everything. So if you've been showing up for everyone else, if you've been stretching yourself thin trying to prove your worth, it's time to pause, step back, reclaim your power. Because when you understand the value of your absence, you begin to master the power of your presence. You no longer show up out of obligation. You show up out of alignment. You don't give from depletion. You give from overflow. And that's when your presence becomes magnetic, not because it's constant, but because it's conscious. You're no longer everywhere. You're exactly where you need to be. And that, my friend, when your life starts to transform,